welcome you back to Shea Stadium in New York for the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Jets won the toss, and they will receive, as you look at number 89, Luke McCall, and number 82, Frank Lewis. They the replacements for the injured Jerry Butler and Bob Chandler, as we touched upon during the course of NFL 79, as Nick Mickemeyer, 7-year pro out of Temple, gets set to kick to Bruce Hopper and Bobby Jones. That's Jones on the right. And we're underway at Shea. This is Hopper. 15. 25. Out near the 30-yard line. So the return by Hopper. Hit down by Len Willis, a recent addition to the Buffalo roster.
And Marv, we will watch closely the special teams of the Jets all day. Last week they had a 100-yard kickoff return stuffed down their throats, and I think the special teamers want to reprove to the local fans that they are good.
24-yard return by Bruce Hopper. I'm Marv Albert along with Mike Haffner. It's a 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for the New York Jets. They are in green and white. Richard Todd, the quarterback. And Todd to throw on 1st down. Completes to Scott Durkin. Lucius Sanford.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Throw on 1st down, especially when you have a great running game. The play action pass on 1st down will always catch the defense by surprise. Richard Todd knows how to play this football game. A great call, play action pass, Durkin out of the backfield. And that's what to do on 1st down. Play action pass.
1st and 10 at the 45. The running backs, Scott Durkin and Clark Gaines. The receivers, Bobby Jones, Derek Gaffney, and the tight end, Jerome Barkham. This is Durkin. Trying to pick his way through. Short yardage on the play for Durkin, the 3-year pro out of Purdue. Stopped by Isaiah Robertson and Ben Williams as you look at that Jet backfield.
Clark Gaines, 125 yards last week. Buffalo knows it. They'll be watching him.
Bobby Jones, Jerome Barkham, and Derek Gaffney are the receivers. Wesley Walker, of course, is out of action.
That puts a lot of pressure on Bobby Jones. Those are big shoes to fill.
It is a 2nd and 8 at the 47-yard line. 21 is Gaines, averaging 5.9 per pop. This is Durkin, and he is tripped up. Picked up a yard on the play. Ben Williams, the left defensive end, number 77, covering up. And there is that superb Jet offensive line.
I want those 2 tackles on my club. Powell and Chris Ward. They can play. Oh.
Ward, Rasmussen, Joe Fields, who was a question mark, and as a starter, although he will not be available for the long snaps once again. Alexander and Powell. Bruce Hopper has come on now to combine with Clark Gaines. It is a 3rd and 8. Buffalo goes to the 4-3. And a long count, delay of game called on the New York Jets.
What happens in that situation, Marv, is Richard Todd gets up to the line, sees that the defense has keyed on the pass play he's called. Obviously, it's 3rd and long. So he tries to change the signals before the time runs out. Didn't get it done.
The referee, Pat Haggerty, with the indication of delay of game, making for a 3rd and 13 back at the 43-yard line.
That Buffalo defensive front 4 will be laying their ears back.
Jets at 5 and 5 come off the victory in Green Bay last week. Penalty marker is down, and here is Todd, still looking for a receiver. And a dangerous pass intended for Clark Gaines. But a flag on the play. Charles Rones called for interference. The right quarterback, number 26. Rones on the interference call, and that has to be a play that head coach Chuck Knox will not appreciate.
Marv, that was a cheap shot. That's all. That's the only way to describe it. Clark Gaines looking over his shoulder.
Illegal motion. 72. Personal foul. Defense. 26. We'll enforce the 15-yard penalty.
You want to see what we in the business call a cheap shot? Watch this one. Clark Gaines going to pay for it. He had his head down. There comes Romes. No sense for that. That's ridiculous.
Chris Ward was called, though, on the procedure, but they are assessing the 15-yard personal foul.
Let me explain that. A dead ball foul, and Pat Haggerty might for us. dead ball foul, so it takes precedence over the 5-yard penalty.
Now look at the Buffalo defensive unit. Ben Williams, Mike Cadis, and Scott Hutchinson are the front three. The linebackers, Robertson, Haslett, Nelson, and Sanford.
And they'll go to 4 down in a passing situation, Marv.
Durking and Long on this 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Kevin Long gets the call. Clark Gaines has won the starting job from Kevin Long off his effort a week ago against Green Bay. Long that time stopped by Ben Williams. Kevin had an outstanding, surprising sophomore season in the NFL a year ago. Once again, the Buffalo linebacking core.
And Robertson and Lucius Sanford have flip-flopped. Isaiah now playing over the tight end. There are the defensive backs, Mario Clark, Charles Romes, who just gave us the explicit example of a cheap shot.
And it's a 2nd and 8 for the New York Jets. We're early first quarter. Jets at the Buffalo 40. And here's Todd on the roll, watched by Hutchinson. Hutchinson was really popped. Clark Gaines with the hard hit and blocking for Todd. And the crowd appreciates the block thrown by Gaines.
Well, if you get cheap shotted once, you go and look for somebody to nail. Watch Clark Gaines. After he sees Todd pull the ball down, he's going to help his quarterback, and Hutchin's going to pay the price. I got hit, you get hit. In your face, as they say.
All right, Mike, Todd picked up the first down. First down for the Jets. They're on the move here at the Buffalo 32-yard line. 2.5 minutes gone by. First quarter, we're playing in the rain at Shea. Durking and Long, the running backs. Gaffney comes across. Scott Durking, nowhere to go, try to make the turn. Durking coming in, averaging 4.5 with 509 yards on 116 carries. Shane Nelson, the inside linebacker, making the stop, as you will see right here.
And when you play a 3-4 defense, you must depend on your linebackers to stop the running game. Shane Nelson, the inside linebacker on the left side, comes in and buries Durking. That's the way to stop the running game of the 3-4, although Buffalo hasn't been that successful until last week, Marv.
Makes for a 2nd and 9 at the Buffalo 31. The Jets, not a fancy club. They call their style blood and guts football. They just go right at people. Play action, but the Bills do not go for it. Richard Todd hauled down by linebacker Jim Haslett.
The blitz was on. Richard Todd didn't read it, and that's a problem with a young quarterback. Haslett, 55, the rookie inside linebacker, is on the blitz all the way. Richard never sees him, and you must see the blitz if you're an NFL quarterback, or you end up with separated shoulders, broken collarbones, and Todd's had his share.
Loss of 8. It is a 3rd and 17 as you look at Jim Haslett. 3rd and long right now. Chris Hoffer comes in, combining with Mark Gaines in that Jet backfield.
This is where you miss Wesley Walker.
And Todd swings it, but Gaines is hit down immediately. Number 43, the free safety Tony Green, who comes off a tough ball game last week in the loss against the New England Patriots.
Green in the right place at the right time. He was in a zone defense. He had the short area, saw the slip screen, as we call it, out in the flat, and nailed him.
So the Jets will punt from midfield. Chuck Ramsey, 3-year pro out of Wake Forest, averaging 41 yards per punt. And this is Keith Moody, among the leaders in punt returns in the AFC. He is back at his 10-yard line.
Try to angle this one out of bounds, Marv, or stop it dead.
Low snap. Once again, the long snap man was McGlasson, and he had trouble all last week. And the Jets are able to down it. So the Buffalo Bills will take over. We're 4.5 minutes in, first quarter, here at Shea Stadium. When we return, it'll be Buffalo ball. The Buffalo Bills now will put it in play for the first time today. First down at their 18-yard line, led up to the line by Willie Parker. The backfield with Terry Miller and Curtis Brown at the running backs. Miller has been a major disappointment. Last week carried only 3 times for 9 yards against the Patriots. But figures to see more action today, and that is Miller getting first call. Lawrence Pillars, the left defensive end, combining with left defensive tackle Abdul Salam on the stop out of the 22. Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6. And there are the receivers for Buffalo. Lou Picone replacing the injured Jerry Butler, Reuben Gant, who has not had a good season, and Frank Lewis, who has had a super year.
They'll double Frank Lewis and dare Lou Picone to get open. That's the way the Jets will play.
Bills out of the eye now, and again it's Miller. Found a hole, brings to the 25. Buttle and Blinka, the Jet linebackers, combining on the stop. Number 54, Stan Blinka, leads the Jets with 154 tackles.
I love that middle linebacker of the Jets. He's tough.
Out of Sam Houston State, the Buffalo offensive line, Ken Jones, Reggie McKenzie, Willie Parker, Joe DeLavalier, Joe Devlin.
Ken Jones is the key. He's been noted for holding, and we'll watch him today.
It is a 3rd and 2 for Buffalo. And the crowd urging the Jet defense on. Brown and Miller, the running backs. Ferguson to throw for the first time, and he's got Miller for a first down. A jarring tackle by Buttle, but the Bills have picked it up.
Outstanding job by Terry Miller. The back must know where the first down marker is. Terry Miller's a great one. He had 1,000 yards last year, but he's also a tough pass receiver. Greg Buttle made him pay for the reception, but he caught the ball. That's important.
And, Mike, it's tough to figure out why he is having his difficulties. Of course, Ferguson is throwing an awful lot. There are some people who say that he has lacked the spark. Others say, well, he's not getting that much of an opportunity. They've been alternating, but it has been a disappointing season for the second-year man out of Oklahoma State. This is Curtis Brown weaving his way up to the 37, 38-yard line. Schaefer Suggs, the strong safety, along with Burgess Owens coming up to make the stop. Up front for the Jets, Lawrence Pillars, Abdul Salam, Joe Klecko, and Marty Lyons.
Marty Lyons the key. He is on Ken Jones, and he has to put on the pass rush.
The linebackers are Buttle, Blinka, and the rookie on the right side out of Kent State, that is Mike McKibben. 2nd and 3 now for Buffalo at their 38-yard line.
Another Penn State linebacker. They're all over the NFL.
Curtis Brown trying to find a hole, but could not. Greg Buttle with a nice move to his right to make the stop. Curtis Brown has been averaging 3.5 yards per carry. In that Jet secondary, as we complete the defensive look, Bobby Jackson and Johnny Lynn at the corners. Schaefer Suggs and Burgess Owens are the deep men.
And Johnny Lynn will get the one-on-one coverage on Lou Picone. Lynn from my alma mater, UCLA.
Beat out Donald Dykes, began the season as a starter. Here's a 3rd down and 2 for Buffalo at their 39. We have no score. 7 minutes left. First quarter. Ferguson to throw for the second time. Goes sideline and completes it. Frank Lewis with the diving catch for the first down at the 45. Covered by Schaefer Suggs.
Frank Lewis, when he was at Pittsburgh, they said he was the finest athlete they'd ever seen. But Frank Lewis, for some reason, never got it together. Now he comes to Buffalo, and Joe Ferguson is making him a hero.
Frank is in his 9th year, has already established a career yard high with 741 yards pass receiving. First down at the 45-yard line. And the Bills stay with Miller and Brown in the backfield. This is Terry Miller. So Miller getting a lot of work here early in the first quarter. Joe Klecko, number 73, the right defensive tackle, making the tackle.
Terry Miller had been alternating most of his career with Roland Hooks. Every other play, Marv, and that is a real problem for a running back. They don't like to rotate because you don't get into the flow of the game. You don't get the feel of how the linebackers are playing you. And I think this extra work will help Terry Miller, and what he needs is to break along with. That'll get the confidence back.
Picked up 3 at 2nd and 7. Miller's longest run this season has been only 25 yards. This is Brown going outside and hit down at midfield by Bobby Jackson. Curtis Brown, a very quick, very strong running back out of the University of Missouri in his 3rd year. Last year emerged as a surprise. Ran for 591 yards.
And Bobby Jackson did a great job of stopping the outside sweep. Most people think that cornerbacks just cover wide receivers. They don't have anything else to do. But Jackson points out that you must be an outstanding open field tackler at corner, or you can't play in this league.
It is a 3rd and 3 for Buffalo. They come in at 4 and 6. Beaten last week by New England after the good start. Again, this crowd here at Shea urging the Jet defensive unit on. And Ferguson to throw. Miller really caught. And it is called incomplete. Greg Bettle, one of the harder hitters in the National Football League. That time, broke it up. Miller had it, but could not hold on.
And you'll remember, and so did Terry Miller, that hit he got when he made the first down on the reception. I'm sure it was in the back of his mind that Buttle drilled him. Miller probably heard a footstep or two and dropped it.
The Bills in punt formation. Rusty Jackson, 3-year pro out of LSU, averaging 38 yards per punt. Back at his 36, the Jets with 3 deep. The key man in the middle is Bruce Hopper. There's Bruce, averaging 9 yards per return as Jackson tried to angle it. Ken Troy going sideline. Well, a kamikaze move by Troy across the 30-yard line. Hit down by Len Willis. We have 4:47 left, first quarter. The Jets and the Bills, no score. We'll be back in a moment. Back at Shea Stadium. Game time temperature 51 degrees. The umbrellas are out. It has been raining. The Jets take over first down at the 30-yard line. Thus far, they've managed only 5 yards on 4 running plays. Of course, that's their strength, and Scott Durking is stopped. Shane Nelson, the right inside linebacker, making the tackle.
You would expect the running game to be stalled for the Jets early, because I'm certain that the Buffalo Bills, Monday through Saturday, worked on stopping the running game. So I want to see that first down play action pass by Richard Todd more often this afternoon.
It is a 2nd and 10. Durking and Gaines are the running backs. The quarterback is Richard Todd. And here's Todd off the fake, and he completes to Durking. Looking for the first down marker. He's got it and more. Scott Durking out to the 48-yard line. Jim Haslett able to bring him down.
Watch Durking again out of the backfield off the play action pass. Thank you, Richard. I'm glad you were listening to me. The offensive running play wasn't successful, but the play action pass with the back slipping out of the backfield. Watch Freeman come up, who has been known for his tackling, but this time Durking breaks the tackle, picks up the first down. And Richard Todd, you're a smart man to throw that play action pass.
Richard Todd has completed 50% this season, has 10 touchdowns, been intercepted 13 times. Began very rusty and taking over from Matt Robinson has come on very strong. Lots of time and completes to the tight end Barkham. Jerome Barkham with some fancy open field running has the first down. Steve Freeman again came up from strong safety. But a beautiful move following the reception by Barkham.
I'll tell you, Richard Todd is listening to us, Marv. Play action pass, first down. His secondary receiver is the tight end. Look at him look downfield, all covered. Now he dumps it to Barkham, and Isaiah Robertson is going to get a fake that he'll remember for a couple of plays. Oh, Barkham left him looking for his shoes. And when you have to have your defensive backs come up to make a tackle on a short pass, you're being successful.
Todd is 4 for 4, 42 yards. This time to the ground, Clark Gaines with the short pickup. Jim Haslett, inside linebacker on the left, making the stop. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. 2:21 remaining first quarter. The Jets and the Bills are scoreless. Second meeting of the season between these two clubs back in September. The Bills won it 46-31. Here's Durking on the sweep, try to follow long, but could not get outside. Try to turn, but Isaiah Robertson and Steve Freeman were there to turn him back the other way.
One thing about the 3-4 defensive set, it's almost impossible to get your backs outside on a sweep. Right there you saw the graphic example. No gain.
It'll be a third at about 8 as we check the scoreboard. Oakland and Houston are tied at 7 in the first quarter.
Earl Campbell's back, huh?
Scored a touchdown. Pittsburgh leads Kansas City 7-0 in the first. Here's the third down, 8. And as you can see, flags are flying.
Too much time again. Richard Todd trying to change. Somebody jumped. Chris Ward
So a procedure penalty as we look at the American Conference Eastern Division. The New York Jets, of course, with playoff potential either as a wild card or things can tighten up. That New England-Denver game should be most interesting.
There's Denver at 7-3. They beat New England today, and the Jets are right back in the race.
Look at the wild card possibilities. 3rd and 13 now. This is Bruce Hopper stacked up. Hopper with nowhere to go and stopped. And the Jets are having difficulty getting this running game going. Lucius Sanford makes the stop.
The fans weren't very happy about the draw play called by Richard Todd, but I'll tell you what, you don't want to turn the ball over when it's 0-0 and give somebody the emotional edge. It was a good call by Todd, though he got booed by the fans here at Shea Stadium.
So, punting situation now. Chuck Ramsey back at his 44, 3 deep for the Buffalo Bills, and that's Keith Moody in the middle. Minute 27 left, first quarter here at rainy Shea Stadium, and we have no score. That time a good snap by McGlasson. Well, you can see the rain has taken its toll on the field. It is slippery out there. Down by Ken Troy. And a timeout has been called. The Jets and the Bills are scoreless here at Shea Stadium in New York.
This is Bryant Gumbel in New York reporting that in Kansas City, the Steelers have taken a 10-0 lead over the Chiefs. Here's the touchdown. Bradshaw to Stallworth. It was good for 26 yards. We'll get an advantage. Kansas City didn't, and that's a second look. It's a handoff to Franco. He gets into the hole, laterals back to Terry. He makes no mistake, 26 yards on the money to Stallworth. They've added a field goal. They're out in front 10-0. Let's go back to Shea and rejoin Marv Albert.
Thank you, Bryant. Back here at Shea, a minute 15 left. First quarter, and the Bills go to the offense again. 1st and 10 at their 11. The running backs are Terry Miller on the left, Curtis Brown on the right. And this is Miller once again. Nice move as he went the middle. Stan Blinka, the middle linebacker, and the free safety, Burgess Owens, making the stop, and Miller looking very, very sharp here in the early going.
Terry Miller is not alternating today. Head coach Chuck Knox of the Bills says, give him the football, leave him in there, let's break him out of his slump, and I like the way he's running today.
He picked up 7 on that carry. It is a 2nd and 3 up at the 18-yard line. Jet defense, incidentally, has given up the most yards in the National Football League, 385 in all. Curtis Brown now short of a first down. Pillars and Salam were there to close it up. The Jets are last in pass defense, but they have played well against the run. In that department, they are 3rd in the National Football League.
And one thing about the Jet defense, you know they're thinking pass first, run second, and that's why Terry Miller ripped off 7 yards on first down. The Jets are still going to continue playing pass first, though, because that's the Jets' big offensive weapon.
That clock running down here in the first quarter, and Ferguson is going to let it expire with a 3rd and 2 coming up at the 19. So that is the end of the first quarter here at Shea Stadium in New York with the score. The Buffalo Bills 0 and the New York Jets 0. Hey, I'm Marv Albert. This is Mike Haffner as we get set for the start of play in the second quarter. And it will be Buffalo ball in a 3rd and 2.
And here we come. Play action pass is a perfect time for the Buffalo Bills.
Urging the Jet defense on, and the Bills pick up the first down. Curtis Brown goes outside, stopped by Burgess Owens.
Now you know why I'm in the booth and Chuck Knox is down there coaching, but it fooled the Jet defense also. They were looking for play action pass because Joe's famous for 3rd and short. Curtis Brown makes the good move to the outside, ensuring a first down. He's not the big jarring type fullback, but he runs quick. He runs sideways as fast as most guys run forward.
Well, Curtis goes 5'10", 203 pounds, got a first down out of the 24-yard line. Now Ferguson on the give. This is Miller. Terry Miller stopped. Mike McKibben, the right side linebacker, making the stop. The Jets defensively with Pillars, Salam, Klecko, and Lyons up front. Buttle, Blinka, and McKibben, the linebackers. Lynn and Jackson at the corners. And Suggs and Owens are the deep men. Miller picked up 4, has a 2nd and 6 out of the 28.
Interesting comparison between Buffalo's offense and the Jets. Buffalo usually goes play action on first down, where the Jets don't. We're seeing the opposite today.
Again, Ferguson goes to Miller. Miller to the outside, and he's picked up the first down across the 35. Mike McKibben and Schaefer Suggs combined to make the stop, and the Bills certainly are fooling people here in the first half with that outstanding passing game. They've been doing it on the ground.
And Terry Miller again getting his opportunity to break the sophomore jinx. And they talk about the sophomore jinx in the NFL. Miller had 1,000 yards last year. He's been very unproductive this year, but look at those stats for today already.
You don't believe in that stuff, do you?
Nah, I was lousy all 7 years.
I was going to say, you had a continuous jinx. Just kidding. Miller has 30 yards on 6 carries. First down at the 36. And now Ferguson can throw. On first down, leaping catch by Picone. So the former Jet, Luke Picone, who has burned the Jets in the past, with a nice catch in front of Johnny Lynn.
And Luke Picone, it's a great feeling. Believe me, I was with 7 different teams, so I played it against the team that I played for almost every week. But it feels good inside to catch one against the team that lets you go, and I can feel Picone smiling all the way up here.
Last week against New England, Lou caught 4 for a career-high 84 yards. Ferguson now 3 out of 4 for 24 yards. Has a first down at the Buffalo 49-yard line. Opening minutes, second quarter, no score. Here's Miller again. Terry Miller to the Jet 48, Abdul Salam 74, number 51, Greg Buttle combined to stop Miller.
And Salam did his job. What he is supposed to do on defense is anchor that front four. Not so much of a pass rusher, but he is always there, plays run very well, and he held Miller to a minimal gain.
It is a pickup of 3, 2nd and 7 for the Buffalo Bills. Frank Lewis to the left, and Lou Picone to the right. Miller and Brown are the setback. Again, it's Miller on the sweep. And Miller is hammered right near that first down marker at the 41. Burgess Owens, the free safety, stopping that man. And it's been a very busy first half for Miller.
You know how to get a guy out of a slump? Give him the ball 20 times. And Miller's already carried, I think, 7 or 8 times so far this game. 8 times. Our crack statistician jumps right on my line. I love it.
It is 3rd and 1. Terry Miller carried only 3 times last Sunday for 9 yards against the Patriots. A 3rd and 1 for the Bills. And it's Curtis Brown with the first down with room to spare. Burgess Owens making the stop.
And again, the quick moves of Curtis Brown. Again, I told you, he's not the big, stocky type fullback, a Larry Zonka type. But watch Joe Klecko. He's got a shot at him, but Brown is so quick. He slips right by Joe and gets the first down. Good camera work by our guys down the truck. All right, John Gonzalez.
All right, the Bills now first down at the 38-yard line. 5 minutes gone by, second quarter, and we still have no score in contrast to the wild one in Buffalo. That's Picone again. Lou Picone able to break away for a long gainer. Stan Blinka finally hauled him down, chasing along with Burgess Owens. So Picone has now caught 2.
I'll tell you, Johnny Lynn got a little lesson. Rookies in the NFL remember that the wide receivers can run with the ball afterwards. Fakes Lynn right out of his shoes. He slips on the wet turf, and then Blinka has to come all the way over and make the stop. And I'll tell you, I like Blinka. He is so quick. He plays the run better than the pass, but you know why he plays the run. Look at how fast he is. He catches Picone from behind.
First out of the 18, new backfield now for Buffalo. Roland Hooks and Mike Collier have come in, but Ferguson throws. He's got Picone again. Lou Picone has picked up another first down. It'll be first and go for the Buffalo Bills.
Joe Ferguson coming into this game said, I got 3 rookies on the right side. Johnny Lynn at right corner, the right linebacker Mike McKibben, and the right defensive end Marty Lyons. Guess where they're going, Marv? Right at those 3 rookies, and Picone is having a big day.
Well, Lou Picone out of West Liberty State in his 6th year, guy who made the jump from the Youngstown Hard Hats to the New York Jets, has done quite a job of filling in for Jerry Butler. This is Roland Hooks, stacked up right near the 5-yard line. Abdul Salam and Joe Klecko stopping that drive by Hooks. So for the first time today, we have seen Buffalo coach Chuck Knox make changes in that backfield. He had stayed with Miller and Brown.
Hooks came in to give Terry Miller a rest. 8 carries in almost 1 period. That's a lot.
2nd and goal at the 5. The Bills do like Hooks at close-in range. He has scored 6 touchdowns, 4 came in 1 game against Cincinnati. Now this is Hooks trying to go outside. He's able to make the turn, and he's bumped out short of the goal line by Blinka.
You want to run outside in the NFL, you do it against a 3-4 defense. That time Hooks uses his speed, and if you get a hook on the corner linebacker and the defensive tackle, look at Klecko trying to chase him, but the block on the outside linebacker, Mike McKibben, is what gets Roland outside and down to the 1.
It is now a 3rd and goal at the 1. 5.5 minutes in. 2nd quarter, no score. Collier and Hooks are the setbacks. This is Collier for the score. Mike Collier finding an enormous hole. And the Bills take a 6-0 lead.
Collier again. The Jets knew they were coming left against their rookie triumvirate over there. And watch Collier. He is going off left tackle. Now he sees that hole, cuts back just 1 step, and you and I could have scored on that, Marv.
Well, Mike. All right, Mike Collier with his first touchdown of the season. He's a 4-year pro out of Morgan State. And now Nick Mickemeyer will attempt the extra point. The holder is backup quarterback Dan Manucci. Well, Mickemeyer, despite the low snap, able to drill it right through. So we have 9:25 left in the 2nd quarter, and the Buffalo Bills lead the New York Jets by the score of 7-0.
This is Bryant Gumbel in New York reporting that in Cincinnati, the Bengals are upsetting the San Diego Chargers out in front 7-0. The Bengals picked this one off. That is Ray Griffin, Archie's brother, taking it down the sidelines, 95 yards for a score. The other Cincinnati score, a 1-yard run by Pete Johnson. Bengals out in front of the Chargers. The score is 14-0. Let's go back to Shea and rejoin Marv Albert.
Thank you, Bryant. 89 yards, 14 plays, over 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Mike Collier with his first touchdown ever for the Buffalo Bills. Well, Bobby Jones lets it carry out of bounds, and they will do it again.
I'll tell you, the guys on the special teams hate it when the kicker kicks it out of bounds because you've sprinted down there once already. Now you got to come back 5 yards deeper, and there's the danger now of the return.
A reminder, this Saturday on Sports World, the action will be fast and furious. The Muhammad Ali Boxing Club with Tony Tubbs and Davey Armstrong scheduled to compete will square off against the Mexico Boxing Club, plus the bizarre and bruising sport of barrel jumping and semifinal action in the Legends of Bowling. That is this coming Saturday right here on NBC on Sports World.
Will you take me along to the Ali boxing matches? I think those are going to be great. I know you're
Mike,
doing
you
them.
are always welcome.
Thank you.
Little side trip for you to Los Angeles. All right, Nick Mickemeyer will have to do it again, this time from the 30. The rain has been falling right throughout. The umbrellas have been out right from the opening kickoff. This is Bobby Jones. And Jones with an opening out across the 45-yard line. Bobby Jones with only his 3rd kickoff return, stopped by the kicker, Nick Mickemeyer.
And when you get the advantage of a 5-yard penalty on the kickoff, you've got to capitalize, especially when you're down by 7 points. Watch Bobby Jones. He sees the opening. Now look at him turn the after Jets on. Right there, and that gives him the extra yardage and great field position for the Jets.
It's a 36-yard run on the kickoff by Jones. Scott Kirking, Clark Gaines, the running backs. But Todd to throw on first down, dumps it off. He's got Kirking at midfield. And let's see if they do rule that a fumble. It is called complete with Haslett and Green on the tackle, and it was blown dead.
And again, Richard Todd is listening to us up here. Play action pass on first down. Looks downfield to find a wide receiver. Nobody open. Dumps it to Durking, who breaks tackles better than anybody I've seen this year.
It is a 2nd and 3 out of the 48-yard line. Long and Durking now, the running back. And here's Durking driving for that first down marker. He'll be a yard short at the 45-yard line. That Jet offensive line, as we reset, Chris Ward, Marvin Powell are at the tackles. Randy Rasmussen, guy who's 34 going on 24. Just ask Randy, he'll tell you.
Right.
Dan Alexander at the other guards, and Joe Fields is at center, making it back following injury. Well, Pittsburgh in front of Kansas City now, 10-0 in the first quarter. It is a 3rd and 1, double tight ends as Mickey Schuler comes on. And the first down is picked up by Durking.
Great eyes, Marv. How'd you know he got that first down? You saw where the linesman marked it. Got it easily. And again, those play action passes will allow your running game to pick up.
Well, Kadish and Robertson able to combine on the stop, and we'll get another look at that first down pickup. Well,
they're ready on offense.
A little later. Okay.
I like the live action better.
Durking and Gaines remain in at the setback. Walt Michaels loves to shuffle. And this is Durking on the slant out near the 40-yard line. Haslett and Robertson combine on the stop.
Shane Nelson, one of the inside linebackers. He was a free agent. He started every game since he came to the Buffalo Bills. Had a shot to knock him down for a loss, but Durking slipped through there.
It is a 2nd and 7, and that Jet running game is coming alive. Someone mentioned the Jets may be the only team in the National Football League that passes to set up the run.
They're doing it today.
That's Clark Gaines, and he's got the first down.
Again, the 3-4 defense is designed to stop the wide play, but if you happen to block an inside middle linebacker on the 3-4, your fullback's going to gain a lot of yardage. Clark Gaines proved it right there.
It is a first down for the New York Jets at the Buffalo 32. Well, the Oilers have moved in front of the Raiders 14-7 in the first quarter. Right here, the Jets trailing by the score of 7-0. It is Gaines again, but this time he is stopped. Clark Gaines, in his 4th year in the NFL out of Wake Forest, was not drafted at all. Signed as a free agent, and Mike, every year the guy comes to camp and really has to win himself a job, although he has been a very dependable back. He's having, by far, his best season rushing. He's also a good pass receiver, blocks well, but Michaels likes to alternate, and he's been using all 4 guys. Gaines and Long, Durking, Hoffer, Tom Newton has seen action. 2nd and 10 at the 32-yard line. Richard Todd with lots of time. Markham covered by the strong safety, Steve Freeman.
Jerome Barkham has become the #1 receiver for Richard Todd now that Wesley Walker is injured. And let me tell you, if you want to have a great pass offense in the NFL, you better have a tight end that can get deep. Barkham proved he could right there.
It'll be a 3rd and 10, and the Steelers have gone in front of the Kansas City Chiefs now 17-0 second quarter.
Who's going to stop the Steelers? I don't think anybody.
3rd and 10 as the Bills send the 5th back. The nickel back is Jeff Nixon. And here's Todd. This time does not get the protection. Bruce Hopper down inside the 10-yard line. Tony Green, the free safety, hauling him down.
told you Richard Todd did not pick up the blitz. This time Buffalo in the blitz situation, and he finds Bruce Harper where that linebacker who was blitzing was supposed to be. A great read by Richard Todd of the blitz. That's why he found Harper open.
For the Jets, it is 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. Bobby Jones left, Derek Gaffney right. King is the lone setback. They go double tight end as Mickey Stewart has come on. And here is King for goal, and he fires forward, close to the goal line. He tried to extend that football out, but they will say no, just short.
When the knee touches, Marv, is when the whistle blows, and that's where they'll mark it. If he had been in the air and broken the plane of the end zone with the ball, it would have been a touchdown. But watch the knees hit first, and we see it from ground level. Knee down, then he stretches with the hands, and the referee, back judge, called it perfectly.
It is a 2nd and goal, a yard away. Kevin Long is so long on the dive, and the Jets now trail 7-6.
I just told you that you can break the plane of the end zone with the ball as long as your knee isn't on the ground. There's no way to really run through a hole on the goal line when they're stacked up like that. So Long goes airborne. Watch the ball up in the air. Ball breaks the plane of the end zone. Then Long blasted back. The ball broke the plane of the end zone. 6 points for the Jets.
And for Long, his 6th touchdown of the season. Here is Tony Lenhart. Pat Robinson, the holder. And it is no good.
Hooked it. Same problem with my golf swing.
Tony Lenhart had been perfect. At 10 for 10 coming in, but he blows it. So a timeout called. We'll be back in a moment.
This is Brian Gumbel in New York reporting that in Kansas City, the Steelers have gone ahead of the Chiefs 17-0 in the second period. Here's the last score. Terry Bradshaw going up top, 16 yards. Great catch by Lynn Swann. Terry's 2nd touchdown pass of the game, his 20th of the year. That ties him for the league leadership with Brian Sight. 17-0 Pittsburgh. Let's go back to Shea and Marv Albert.
All right, Brian, back here at Shea, 3:54 left in the second quarter, and the Jets are trailing 7-6. Tony Lenhart, who was picked up as a free agent after the Baltimore Colts dropped him, and that's another long story. With Pat Leahy out because of injury. This is Mike Collier on the return. A fumble on the play, but recovered by the Bills.
That could have been dangerous. We talk about momentum swinging.
Number 50, John Sullivan.
Backup linebacker John Sullivan. And on the tackle, a first down at the 30-yard line. Pat Leahy is out. Injured leg. They tried Richie Zarro here in New York. That did not work out. And now Lenhart has come on as you watch that return by Mike Collier.
He just slipped on his own because of the wet surface, fumbled, and then got his own.
The Buffalo Bills back with that backfield of Terry Miller and Curtis Brown. That's Lewis in motion. And here's Miller. Miller following blockers out to the 33-yard line. Advance of 3. It'll be a 2nd and 7. Abdul Salam, a 4-year man out of Kent State, combining with middle linebacker Stan Blinka to make the stop.
74 and 54, and great lateral pursuit by both of them held Miller to about a 2-yard gain.
Last year as a rookie, Terry Miller finished fast, rushing for 1,060 yards, averaging 4.5 per carry. Final 4 weeks, averaged better than 7 per carry. Of course, the Bills are hoping that will repeat itself here in the final portion of the season. Curtis Brown with nowhere to go. Greg Buttle making the stop.
When you want to stop a quick fullback, you get a quick linebacker on him. Greg Buttle can keep up with Curtis Brown, and he did there and held him to a short gain.
So a 3rd and 7 coming up now for the Bills. Mark Gastineau, rookie out of East Central Oklahoma, has come on out, left defensive end.
He's their designated pass rusher.
And here is Joe Ferguson, who has completed 53% of his passes on the season. And he fires the home run ball, and it is double coverage charge that time on Lou Picone. He covered up just in case. Schaefer, Suggs, and Bobby Jackson in the foot race with Lou Picone.
Lou Picone was never open on this play, Marv. It was just a throwaway pass by Joe. Everybody covered. He sees double coverage. The problem is Joe didn't throw it far enough because Schaefer Suggs had a shot to pick it off right there. But that's the toughest catch in football, right over the top of your head. Picone, look at him. He's going to get it any way he can.
Rusty Jackson back in punt formation at his 18-yard line. Bruce Hopper in single safety. He's out at the 25. 2 minutes, 21 seconds remaining. First half. Short kick. Hopper tried to let it bounce. Penalty marker is thrown down. We have been virtually penalty free here in this first half.
With the positioning of the marker, I would imagine illegal cover downfield. We'll find out.
Illegal formation.
Illegal formation this time. More often than not, a guy will back off the offensive line on the punt. That puts too many men in the backfield, and that's when you'll get the procedure penalty.
The referee today is Pat Haggerty.
From Denver, one of my neighbors.
Umpire Al Conway, the headline.
Illegal formation. Offense decline.
There's Pat.
First down.
Headlinesman is Walt Peters, the line judge Dave Hawk, the back judge Jim Poole, side judge Dick Creed, the field judge Bob Lewis. The timeout has been called. 2:11 left in this first half, and the Bills lead the Jets 7-6. Back at Shea, this is Marv Albert with Mike Haffner. We are in the ring as we approach the 2-minute mark. The Jets are trailing the Bills 7-6. Jets first down at the 35-yard line. That's Clark Gaines. With a 4-yard advance, Isaiah Robertson and Steve Freeman combined to make the stop. In the first meeting between these two clubs, we had that shootout ball game, and things have really been in contrast thus far this afternoon here in the first half. The 2-minute warning, so we'll pause for these words. On touchdowns by Mike Collier from 1 yard out and Kevin Long from 1 yard out. The Bills lead the Jets 7-6 because Tony Linhart of the Jets missed the extra point. 2nd and 5 for Todd. And it's knocked down, intended for Bruce Hopper. Isaiah Robertson, the outside linebacker on the left, able to get his hand on it.
You know, a wide receiver for the Jets has not caught a pass in the first half. Let's take a look at Gaffney. He's been the main man since Wesley Walker got hurt. Gaffney opened that time, but the pressure on Richard Todd didn't allow him to get the pass off to Derrick, who was open.
Todd now has a 3rd and 5. He is 6 for 8 for 70 yards. And as you mentioned, Mike, in all of the running backs, in fact, Durkin has caught 3 for 41 yards. Buffalo with the extra defensive back for this 3rd and 5. And here is Todd going sideline. He's got Bobby Jones. A sideline catch by Jones for the first down out near the Buffalo 40.
Well, a wide receiver has now caught a pass in the first half. Bobby Jones, again, we said at the top of the show, filling some big shoes when he's got to take Wesley Walker's spot. Right there, he makes a great job with the feet. Both feet must be in bounds in the pros, remember. Good job by Bobby Jones. I bet he feels good after getting that first catch out of the way.
Made his first start last week, and like Lou Picone, the former Jet, he made the jump from semi-pro. Did not attend college. Bobby Jones now to the right side. First down at the Buffalo 40. Todd with much time can't find anyone. And Todd is hauled down. Shane Nelson, the right inside linebacker, who had an earlier shot at him, able to follow him across and bring him down. Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is your news center for Buffalo. WGR TV2.
A minute 37 remaining in this first half. The Buffalo Bills lead the New York Jets by the score of 7-6. A timeout has been called, and will return in a moment. It is a 2nd and 12 as the Buffalo Bills were able to come up with their second sack of Richard Todd. A minute 37 left in this first half. Penalty marker down. Todd again with time. Goes for Gaffney, but he's out of bounds. It is incomplete. Mario Clark, the left cornerback, covering on the play.
Clark played it well. The extra defensive back is the sideline. And he ran him right into the sideline. Offside on the Jets. No reason for that. That means somebody lined up wrong, and these guys have been playing football too long to get your helmet over the ball.
But, Mike, as your coaches used to tell you, it's a game of mistakes.
Offside.
The game of inches.
Decline.
Oh, and it was Barkham trying to get an edge.
And the penalty is declined, so it is a 3rd and 12 at the 41. We apologize because we have had trouble with our graphics this afternoon. It's been an erratic day for our graphics.
We'll let them know what the score is.
It is 7-6 Bills. Minute and a half left, first half. And Todd throws again and completes the sideline to Barkham. Run out of bounds at the 34. Short of a first down. Steve Freeman, a strong safety, follows him out. Crowd urging the Jets to go for it.
There's Barkham wide open on the out pattern. Now I know he was offside in the last play. He was the intended receiver. They probably kept the same play from the penalty. He was trying to get the edge on the out pattern. They're going to punt it away.
And a 4th and 5. Walt Michaels says we will punt. And here's Chuck Ramsey at midfield.
I don't know about this decision, although there is 1 minute 27 seconds to go. That gives Buffalo a long time in their 2-minute drill.
Good snap that time on it. And Ramsey run into. The crowd called the penalty. Let's see as Ramsey put it into the end zone.
I'll tell you what, Pat Haggerty says that the blocker pushed the man into the punter. Now let's see if Mr. Haggerty was right. Yes, he was. See, he blocked him into the punter, so you do not call roughing the kicker on that play. Good call by Pat Haggerty. He was blocked into him. That is not a penalty. Good call.
On the touchback, the Buffalo Bills now 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line with 1 minute and 20 remaining in this first half. Terry Miller and Curtis Brown are the running backs. Pacone is to the left, and Lewis, top of your picture, out to the right.
Key minute 20.
Here's Miller. Tries to get outside. And it's a short yardage pickup. Schaefer Suggs, the strong safety, was right there.
Miller not very happy. He wanted to get out of bounds to stop the clock. He didn't, so they had to call a timeout. No, they didn't call timeout. They're going quick.
Pickup of 3, 2nd and 7 for the Bills at their 23-yard line. Since the last meeting between these two clubs, won by Buffalo in that free-scoring affair, the Bills have lost 4 of 6, while the Jets have turned it. They have won 4 of 6. The Jets say they look at that game as a learning process. They've really come a long way. Curtis Brown tried the right side, picked up 2, out to the 25. Klecko and Blinka combined with 25 seconds remaining in this first half.
No 2-minute drill for Buffalo. They don't care. They're going to let it run all the way out now. They won't even run another play, Marv.
Bills are talking it over as the clock continues to run. Head coach Chuck Knox now under 10, and that will do it for this first half.
Bills getting booed by the fans here in Shea.
And there's the gun, so that is the end of the first half here at Shea Stadium in New York, with the Buffalo Bills leading the New York Jets by the score of 7-6. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. We are at halftime at Shea, and the Bills lead the Jets by the score of 7-6. And Mike's surprising first half. The Jets, you'd figure, would run. They've gone to the pass. Vice versa, the Bills surprising by going more toward the run.
Especially on first down. The Jets are play-action pass, which you'd expect from the Bills. On the other hand, the Bills are running the football on first down.
All right, for a recap, what is happening around the National Football League, let's now go to NFL 79 with Bryant Gumbel.
Even as the Jets and Bills continue to play it close on this Sunday number 11, we've got two surprises going on. The Seahawks are upsetting the Browns, and the Bengals are upsetting the Chargers. Pittsburgh's blanking Kansas City, and Oakland and Houston are having a dandy down in the Dome. I'm Bryant Gumbel along with Mike Adamley. We'll get you all caught up in the scores and highlights of Week 11, and we'll get to that right after these messages from your local station. Hello again, everyone. Bryant Gumbel and Mike Adamley. We welcome you back to NFL 79. This is Sunday number 11. We're in the midst of it. Let's get you all caught up on just what is happening throughout the NFL. In Houston, two teams with playoff aspirations are going at it. Oakland and Houston. The Oilers out in front right now, 14-7 on a long pass from Dante Pastorini to Kenny Burrow. Mike, earlier today we talked about the AFC domination, and you noted that the coaches perhaps are making the difference. We've got two very good young ones there.
Yeah, Bum Phillips and Tom Flores, and perhaps this is the most key game on our schedule this afternoon. Bub Phillips in the Astrodome. His team 7-3, trying to go to 8-3. In the first quarter, Earl Campbell, the man who does all the work for Houston, is really hit by Jack Tatum. He's not nailed, though, and it's a touchdown for Houston, 7-0. Oakland came back when Stabler, who was 7 of 10 in the first quarter alone, hits Raymond Chester over the middle. He strolls in to make it 7-7. In the second quarter, Pastorini, who's had sort of a difficult this season throwing the ball, has no problem here as he connects with 0-0. Ken Burrow in the end zone, 14-7. And with all the talk of playoff and wild card bursts, this is a game to keep your eye on.
That's a very wild ball game going on. There's also another wild ball game going on in Cleveland. There, the Seattle Seahawks are in the midst of surprising the Cleveland Browns, who are heavily favored to beat a Seahawk team that managed only -7 yards against the Rams last week. Let's go to Cleveland and check in there live right now with Merle Harmon.
This is Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Merle Harmon and George Coons with you, and we have a shocking Seattle 16-0 lead over the Cleveland Browns. The Browns had not been able to do anything in this first half, and we have 4 minutes and 24 seconds to go until just a couple of minutes ago. When the Browns started to drive from their own 20, they have moved the ball down to the 11-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks. Meanwhile, Seattle has controlled the game here in the first half. First of all, Smith scored on a smash from the 5 as Seattle drove 66 yards on its first possession. Sherman Smith going over for the touchdown, and Seattle led 7-0 at the end of the first period. Then Sherman Smith came back on a 2-yard run after a 50-yard Zorn to Largent pass that put the ball in the 2, and Seattle went on top 13-0. Then came Herrera's 34-yard field goal after Seattle recovered a fumble, and Seattle moved in front 16-0, and the Browns, who are 7-3 in the Central Division, tied with Houston and hoping for a championship. But if not, if the Steelers go on to win it, they hope for a playoff berth through the wild card. And Brian Sipe, who has thrown for 20 touchdowns this year to lead all NFL quarterbacks, will now try to take the Browns home on a 3rd down 3. The ball at the 11, and 70,000 Browns fans are up, hoping that Sipe and company can get the job done. Here we go. Third and 3. Sipe with time, blocks it to the end zone, incomplete. Calvin Hill coming out of the backfield was the intended receiver. A little bit too high.
Once again, the 5th or 6th time Sipes has been high with his passes. The receiver's having a little trouble getting underneath, and now it looks as if Seattle will be going for a field goal.
So now a field goal attempt coming for the Browns.
Okay, Merle Harmon, George Coons, thank you very much. Again, Seattle 16, Cleveland nothing. We'll get back to that ball game in a moment. Kansas City Chiefs have the misfortune this week of catching the Pittsburgh Steelers. And indeed, in the league today, that is misfortune because there's nobody that even comes close to the Steelers in talent. It's 17-0. Steelers out in front. Another awesome day for the Pittsburgh crew. Mike, this is getting boring with them. They're so much better than everybody else. It's a joke.
It's really the truth. You talk about the great Browns teams in the 50s, the great Packers teams in the 60s. Perhaps the Steelers are playing as effective as both of those clubs. They are certainly something else. And Chuck Noll, his job is pretty easy when you got guys like Franco Harris and Bradshaw here. He connects with John Stallworth, 26 yards, Pittsburgh's first score of the game. And then, again, Bradshaw hits Lynn Swan. It's like Picasso to Rembrandt. That's what kind of artists these two athletes are. They're sensational. Pittsburgh leads at this point 17-0. It doesn't look like Kansas City's going to do a thing about it.
Okay, Tampa Bay against Detroit. This one going on in the Silverdome. Lions out in front, 7-0 on a 6-yard run by Bo Robinson. Baltimore against Miami. The Colts have been hot of late, but that's only been with Burt Jones. Today they are without him. Greg Landry started. Miami out in front, 13-0. Mike, interesting contest here between two teams that have both had quarterback problems in recent weeks.
Well, the Colts are most recently they're 4-5. They lost Burt Jones last week. Bob Greasy has taken a lot of heat about his physical condition, but he insists he's as healthy as he's ever been, and you can see the two of them discussing the game on the sidelines before it all started. But Bob Greasy showed that his arm is still pretty tough right here. He goes up in the air and finds Nat Moore in the end zone and gave Miami a 7-0 lead. That's the way that ball game stands right now. 13-0, excuse me.
Okay, Mike. Buffalo against the Jets. As noted, Buffalo out in front in this one, 7-6. You might remember many weeks ago when they played, Buffalo won a 46-31 decision when Jerry Butler had such a fabulous day. But Butler is not with the Bills today, yet the Bills are playing very, very well. And I think the Jets are still adapting to life without Wesley Walker.
Yeah, the replacement for Jerry Butler is a guy named Little Lou Picone. I played with him when I was with the New York Jets, and he's had a good afternoon. In fact, he set up the first score against Walt Michaels' team in Shea Stadium. Here it is right now. First quarter action. Joe Ferguson goes back to pass and finds Lou. There he is, 89. He dekes one defensive back, gains 20 yards in the play, and it set up this 1-yard touchdown run by Mike Collier. In the second quarter, the Jets drove right down to the Buffalo goal line. Kevin Long takes it in. The extra point was missed. 7-6. The Jets are 5-5 right now. They would dearly love to win this ball game.
Okay, Mike. NFC Eastern affair going on in the nation's capital. Redskins out in front of the Cardinals in the second period. 10-7. Theodis Brown and John Riggins have touchdown runs in that ball game. Cleveland game we just checked in on. Don Kokrov did kick a field goal to salvage something from that drive, but Seattle out in front in one of the day's bigger surprises, 16-3. Here's another surprise. This one going on in Cincinnati. The Bengals, with only 2 wins on the year, are beating the 7-3 Chargers. It stands at 14-10. Bengals jumped out to a big early lead in this one, but Mike, the Charger offense is very tough to contain.
Very tough to contain. And the Cincinnati Bengals, the youngest team in the NFL, the one of the most promising, perhaps the most disappointing. Lost 7 straight right off the bat. Homer Rice and his team gave the Chargers all they could handle early on. It was 7-0 after a Pete Johnson touchdown run, but Fouts threw one up for grabs here. It is picked up by number 44, Ray Griffin. He goes 95 yards all the way into the end zone and gave Cincinnati a quick 14-0 lead. But as you said, Bryant, San Diego has come back with 10 points of their own, 14-10. That's that way that game stands right now.
Okay, Mike, 3 other games just getting started. Rams out in front of the Bears, 3-0. New Orleans leading San Francisco by the same score, and Green Bay out in front of Minnesota, 7-0. Don't forget, later, it's New England against Denver. That one's still to come on NBC. For second half of action, let's go back to the ballpark.
I play with this, to the first time out.
This 1979 National Football League game is brought to you by Schlitz. Make the most of now, from the life you live to the beer you drink. Go for it. By Dodge. Test drive the new 1980 Dodge cars, engineered with room, styling, ride, and handling. By Kmart Automotive Centers, where quality car products are Kmart priced. And by Levi's Sportswear, where quality never goes out of style.
Marv Albert and Mike Haffner welcoming you back to rainy Shea Stadium in New York. At halftime, the Buffalo Bills leading the New York Jets by the score of 7-6. 1-yard touchdown run by Mike Collier, set up by a couple of receptions by Lou Picone, the former Jet. 1-yard run by Kevin Long. However, Tony Linhart missed the extra point. Of course, Tony had his difficulties in Baltimore, though it kicked very well for the Jets since coming over.
Sidewinder, every once in a while hook one, Marv, and that's what he did. So kind of like my golf swing. Every once in a while you hook them out of bounds.
Mike, the Bills have been a pretty fair road club. In fact, they're 2 up and 2 down on the road, and a good first half here at Shea.
Interesting about teams that are in the middle of the league. I don't want to say Buffalo is one of the poorer clubs, because they aren't, because of Joe Ferguson. But teams will take them lightly when they are on the road. If they're coming to my city, we figure, this is an easy breeze, and the Jets have not taken advantage of it. Buffalo is a good football team, even on the road.
Okay, both clubs now are getting set for the kickoff to get underway here in the second half. There you see Jerome Barkin getting ready with Matt Robinson throwing on the sideline.
Here's the guy with the hook.
Tony Linhart out of Austria Tech. The man that Baltimore owner Robert Irsay allegedly gave $10,000 after having a poor effort, and that upset head coach Ted Marchibroda.
So he cut him.
Linhart had a difficult time with the Colts. Here he is back in the National Football League and getting set to kick off to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills 7, the Jets 6, and we are underway, second half. This is Mike Collier fumbling it out of bounds. And it's marked at the 17-yard line. A penalty marker, though, down upfield.
Mike Collier's going to get a break because that was a dumb play. He should have known where the sidelines were and taken advantage of it, but I think the Jets were offside on the kickoff, and that'll give Collier a break on that boo-boo. There's Haggerty telling everyone that it was offside against the Jets, so Collier now gets a reprieve, as they say. Oh, he's not happy with himself, let alone the coach being mad at him.
For the Jets, Tim Maresco, solid member of the specialty team, a backup secondary man, was offside on the play.
Remember last week, Andre Thompson of Green Bay ran one back 100 yards against this same Jet special teams, and you know they're thinking about it today.
And the Jets have had their difficulties in kickoff coverage.
It wasn't a great return last week either, Marv. He just kind of waited around till the Jets ran by him, and then he goes 100.
So Linhart will do it again, and the deep men Moody and Collier have now switched.
You think because of that fumble? I would imagine.
Collier goes off to the other side, and Keith Moody, the man the Bills would like to see with the football, is now on the near side of the field.
And if I were Tony Linhart, I would have seen that switch, and now I would hook it over to Collier's side. Maybe he's got another fumble left in him, huh?
Well, that's exactly where it went. And here's Collier to the 20. And run out short of the 30-yard line. So a second opportunity for Mike Collier. And he's run out of bounds by Bobby Jackson. The Buffalo Bills now. 1st and 10 with Joe Ferguson at quarterback. Terry Miller and Curtis Brown are the running backs. The receivers, Lou Facone, Reuben Gant, and Frank Lewis. First down at the 28-yard line. This is Terry Miller. And Miller out to the 32 and pushed back. Blinka and Suggs. McKibben also involved. Schaefer Suggs coming up from strong safety to make the hit. Hiller, Salam, Klecko, and Lyons up front. Buttle, Blinka, and McKibben are the running backs. Lynn and Jackson at the corners, and Suggs and Owens are the deep men.
And the Jets have made an adjustment on defense, Marv. You saw Suggs come up to make the tackle, so you know that the Jets are now thinking that Buffalo will run on first down instead of pass.
Mike Collier has replaced Curtis Brown, who was shaken up a moment ago. The fake to Collier. Ferguson on the swing. This is Collier. Collier with the first down and much more. Hard driving run by Collier, the 4-year pro out of Oregon State. Blinka and Suggs bring him down out at midfield.
And Collier on the screen pass. Joe Ferguson sets it up with a bootleg play action. And Collier does this all on his own. First of all, he breaks a tackle there by Salam. And then you saw Blinka coming up to make the tackle. He slipped on the wet turf. That let Collier get out and make excellent yardage. Again, he did it on his own. Nobody blocked anybody on the Jets.
It's a 20-yard run for Collier. First down at the 50 for the Buffalo Bills. They lead it 7-6. Here's Miller. Harry Miller able to break one tackle, bringing to the 45. Marty Lyons, the Jets' first-round draft pick out of the University of Alabama, making the stop.
Joe Klecko had him by the shirt sleeve, and Terry Miller got away from him and made it a good game.
It's a 2nd and 5 now for the Bills at the Jet 45.
Watch Klecko, 73. He's got him around the waist and then lets him slip away. And Terry Miller, a great running back, will break that first tackle.
Collier and Miller, the running backs. This is Lewis coming over in motion, followed by Jackson across the field. And here's Miller. Lawrence Pillars, the left defensive end, making the tackle. Pillars, the 4-year man out of Alcorn State, stopping Terry Miller, who has been very busy this afternoon.
His best rushing day this season, Marv, which is really a slight day, was only 43 yards, and I think he's over that already.
It is a 3rd and about a yard and a half. And this crowd urging the Jet defensive unit on. This is Miller. And he's got the first down. Mike McKibben, number 53, right side linebacker. Young man took over a starting job 4 weeks ago in the Monday night game against Minnesota, making the tackle, but it's a first down for the Bills.
When you need that yard and a half, you run over. Joe DeLamalure, he's been around for a long time. He and Joe Devlin opened the hole that time, and Miller got the first down yardage.
So the Bills, despite that awesome passing attack, continue to do it on the ground. Terry Miller now, 14 carries, 58 yards.
And again, he's only had 43 for a high total this year, so he's broken that.
First down at the Jet 38. Ferguson throwing on first down. A bullet that is incomplete. He really fired that one. Mike Collier, the antenna receiver.
The reason he fired it was the tremendous pressure by the Jet front four. His intended receiver was Reuben Gant. Gant never had a chance.
Cincinnati Bengals surprising San Diego, a 14-13 lead in the second quarter.
I know the New York fans won't believe me, but I picked that one as the upset pick of the week. Cincinnati over the Chargers.
You're kidding me.
No.
No one cares.
I know.
It is a 2nd and 10 at the 38. The Bills 7, the Jets 6. Curtis Brown back in the lineup. Brings to the 33. Schaefer Suggs, the strong safety. Making the stop, a 5-yard advance. Marty Lyons also in on the tackle with Ferguson.
First time this year that Joe Ferguson has called his own plays, Marv. We saw all of it in the first half. He's still doing it and sticking with running on first down, which is obviously surprising the Jets, though I think they've made an adjustment.
He has a 3rd and 4 coming up. Crowd trying to upset Ferguson right here.
Got to throw now, Marv.
And Ferguson goes sideline. And McCollum able to hold on. Incomplete. McKibben and Lynn covering. So Lou Picone, who came up with 3 receptions, 2 key ones on the Buffalo touchdown drive that time, not able to come back for it.
And when he gets over to the sidelines, Joe Ferguson will say, Lou, where do you want me to throw it so you can catch it? Lou was running for a touchdown before that one got in his stomach.
So Rusty Jackson will kick now to Bruce Hopper, Bobby Jones, and Ken Schroy. There's Jackson.
How can I pick on wide receivers? I shouldn't do that.
Rusty, 3-year pro out of LSU. Hopper, the man in the middle, back at the 10-yard line. Harper let it fly over the head. A penalty marker down as it's down inside the 5-yard line.
That might be interference with the ability to make a fair catch. No, it's against the Jets. We'll find out from Pat Haggerty. He'll tell us.
Fair catch signal and then blocking.
Well, Bruce Hopper gave the signal for the fair catch and then try to pull it back.
You cannot do that. They changed that rule about 3 years ago. When you made the fair catch signal, the receiver would then block the player coming down so he couldn't down the ball. But now they've made it a penalty, and the reason is to save that poor guy who's looking for the ball, and some guy going to cut his legs out from under it.
Now a timeout has been called. We have 10:16 remaining, third quarter, with the Bills in front of the Jets by the score of 7-6. Well, tonight and tomorrow night, NBC will bring you two spectacular suspense movies, bringing you them to TV for the very first time. Tonight, Al Pacino stars in an unforgettable role in Dog Day Afternoon. Tomorrow night, Gregory Peck and Lee Remick in The Omen, Dog Day Afternoon. Tonight, The Omen tomorrow night, right here on NBC. Here's Scott Durking as we resume. First and 10 at the 4-yard line as Durking trying to cut to the left, going outside. Stopped by Shane Nelson.
Great balance by Scott Durking. He breaks tackles as well as any little running back in the league, and he is kind of short, and that helps. Low center of gravity, tough to knock him off his feet.
He picked up 3 on the play, 2nd and 7.
That was a great 3-yard gain. It could have been a 2-yard loss, though.
Jones comes to the right, and Gaffney left. Kevin Long and Scott Durking, the running backs. Durking again off left guard out across the 10-yard line. Number 90, Scott Hutchinson, the second-year man out of Florida, who has received a lot of playing time for the Bills this year, replacing Sherman White at right defensive end.
And this offensive series for the Jets, though it started on the 4-yard line, is very important. This is a young ball club. They do not want to make a mistake here because you can turn the game around real quick.
Talk about young ball club. 5 rookies on offense, 8 on defense. 5 rookies start on defense for the Jets. 3rd and 4 now at the 11. And Todd setting up short, able to pick up the first down with Derek Gaffney.
Great concentration by Gaffney, and you'll see that he's got the first down by about 1.5 feet. And that's the study of a wide receiver. Again, we pointed it out earlier. Know where that first down stake is, especially this close to your goal line. And Gaffney right out of bounds for the first. Good concentration.
It's a first down at the 15-yard line. For Gaffney, that's his first reception of the day. Todd 8 for 11 in the first half. Ferguson was 5 for 7. Scott Durking stopped by Scott Hutchinson, should say Kevin Long. Hutchinson in on the tackle. And it's no gain. It'll be a 2nd and 10 at the 15. The Jets come in at 5-5 with that wild card shot. A possibility. Last Sunday they beat the Packers in Green Bay. They've won 3 of the last 4. The only loss at Houston in overtime over that stretch. They've beaten Green Bay, Oakland, Minnesota, Miami, and Detroit. Had that bad loss to the New England Patriots. Todd in trouble. Penalty marker down. Diving catch is made. For a diving catch by Derek Gaffney. Steve Freeman covering up. And a flag is down.
All for naught, I'm afraid, Marv. That penalty flag is sitting back there where the pocket was, and that means offensive holding.
Looked to be the left tackle, Chris Ward, who had early season problems in that department.
Young tackles will always have problems, especially in the holding situation, yet as a coach, I'd rather see the guy hold than Richard get a broken collarbone.
Holding, number 72, offense.
You got sharp eyes. Watch 72. Chris Ward out of Ohio State. Don't you dare hurt my quarterback. So I grab a little bit of jersey, and that'll be holding. Thank you. Too bad, because Gaffney ran a nice route and a good throw by Richard Todd.
Puts it back to a 2nd and 9 at the 8-yard line. Off the delay, Hopper stopped by Williams, and now the crowd turning on the Jets.
Unfair, though, again. A turnover down here really hurts the Jets, so it was a smart move. Play conservative, let your punter get you out of trouble instead of turning it over with an interception. They wouldn't have booed if he'd have broke it for 25 yards and a first down.
It is a 3rd and 15.
Still a tough down to throw on. You can get a turnover here quick and change the whole complexion of the game.
7.5 left, third quarter. Jets trail 7-6. Todd for Barkham. Stopped at the 20-yard line. Lucius Sanford, the outside linebacker, on the right, stopping that Jet drive. So Chuck Ramsey, who has not had a good day, will come on and punt. He's been averaging 29 yards per punt.
But Marv, all those kicks that he's had in this game were against the wind. Now he's got the wind at his back a bit. It's a quartering wind, but he'll have a shot at it.
And Ramsey has gone back, as you see Keith Moody as the deep man, gone back to the shoe. He had been punting right throughout the season with success earlier in the season without the shoe. Good snap from the rookie McGlasson, and here's a good one. Good punt by Ramsey. Moody at the 30. Good coverage by the Jets. And Moody hauled down. 6.5 remaining third quarter. John Sullivan getting to Keith Moody on the punt return. We'll be back in a moment. And tomorrow, I should say next Sunday here on NBC. Talk about announcers being programmed, Mike. Next Sunday, a doubleheader here on NBC beginning with NFL 79. We suggest you check your local listings.
You and I will be down in Houston where they wear the cowboy hats.
First down at the 33-yard line for Curtis Brown. And Brown picks up 5 on the play of the free safety, Burgess Owens. Making the stop, 50-yard punt by Chuck Ramsey to put the Bills back here starting out on the drive at 33. The 4 o'clock games, Pittsburgh, San Diego, Kansas City, Oakland, Denver, San Francisco, and the Bengals and the Oilers in Houston. It is a 2nd and 5. Collier and Miller are the running backs. Mike Collier got across the 40. But Stan Blinka, the middle linebacker, was right there.
It's been raining throughout the game, Marv, and the fans might wonder if that's the reason that Joe Ferguson hasn't put the ball up today. But with the success of their running game and the fact they're leading 7-6, he's going to play it tight to the vest. And as I mentioned, the first time this year he has called his own plays.
Ferguson now has a 3rd and 2 at the 41-yard line.
He'll put it up here.
Has come on at tight end, and Ferguson to throw. It is incomplete, underthrown. Miller, the intended receiver, covered by the linebacker McKibben, and a penalty marker thrown down.
And I think we're going to have roughing the passer. The Jets defense isn't coming off the field. There's Terry Miller on that quick out. He's got the first down, but a poor throw by Ferguson. And there's the penalty against the Jets. I'll bet it's roughing the passer.
Looks like they called one against the Bills and the Jets.
4th down.
Personal foul on both clubs. 4th down. It was after the play, so it is 4th down. They nullify each other. There will be no penalty yardage stepped off, but it will be 4th down for Buffalo.
Some verbal animation following that tackle as Rusty Jackson gets set to kick away to Bruce Hopper. Jackson also just over the 30-yard mark. Well, the fair catch is called. Bobby Jones and Bruce Hopper called for it. It was Jones catching the punt, and again a timeout has been called. 5:07 left, third quarter. Bills 7, Jets 6. For the Jets, first down at their 31. Their rushing game has been stalled thus far. They lead the National Football League in rushing, held to 48 yards in the first half, and Todd to throw with good protection. He completes. Clark Gaines driven back by Steve Freeman, the strong safety.
And again, the Jets going against what they've done all year, throwing on first down. And Todd has been very selective on the first down calls and been successful.
They mark Gaines forward progress out of the 39. It'll be 2nd and 2 for the Jets.
Raining a little harder now, too, out there. Makes the passing game tough.
Gaines and Harper, the running backs. This is Gaffney coming across, and here's Harper. Did not get the first down. Picked up a yard on the play. Lucius Sanford, the right side outside linebacker, second-year man out of Georgia Tech, making the stop as you look at number 55, the left side linebacker, Jim Haslett.
Haslett wasn't thinking pass at all. He saw the running play coming, moved in there. Haslett, a bit of a chippy, he'll knock you down.
It's a 3rd and 1 now.
He's like to do that, though. They'll run around and hit anything that moves in an opposite colored jersey.
Full house backfield with Gaines, Long, and Durking, and this is Durking. He tried to soar over the left side.
Had a little extra effort.
And he picked up the first down. Very little running room for Scott Durking, but he's got the first down. So the Jets now first down at the 42-yard line. Setting the Bills defensively. Hardison now up front with Kadish and Hutchinson. Robertson, Haslett, Nelson, and Sanford, the linebackers. Clark, Rooms, Freeman, and Green are the deep man. And Todd looks to throw. Sideline attempt and is picked off. Mario Clark, as the intended receiver, fell down. Mario Clark on the return. So Todd intercepted. Gaffney, the intended receiver, fell down, and Clark picked it off.
And Richard Todd must be saying somebody up there doesn't like me, because he had Gaffney wide open if, in fact, Derek makes his cut and gets outside. Now watch the ball. It's thrown perfectly, but Gaffney slipped and fell. You can't see it. And there was wide open. Mario Clark just picked it off like he was the wide receiver.
For Clark, his first intercept of his 1979 season. 3:02 left, 3rd quarter. A timeout has been called. Number 29, Mario Clark, smart, steady player. As I mentioned, his first intercept of the season, although he's intercepted 14 the last 3 pro seasons. And he gives Buffalo first down at the Jet 24-yard line. A swing pass. This is Curtis Brown. And Brown is tripped up. Abdul Salam, number 74, making the stop.
Joe Ferguson, for one of the first times today, called the pass play on first down and 10. That was a bit of a screen to his fullback Brown, so it wasn't that difficult to pass. But he's been running on first down, and again, Joe calling his own plays, isn't going after the number 1 thrower in the AFC himself.
Picked up only a yard on the play. It's a 2nd and 9 at the Jet 23. Bills 7, Jets 6. That missed extra point by Linhart looming larger as this game progresses. Terry Miller. And Miller racing toward that first down marker. He's short by a couple of yards as Bobby Jackson, the left cornerback, made the tackle.
Screen pass didn't work on first down, so he used a different back, ran the same screen pattern. This time Miller picked up about 8 yards. Bobby Jackson, again, a good open field tackle. I like that cornerback.
It's a 3rd and 2 off the completion to Terry Miller. A minute and 45 remaining, 3rd quarter. It has been raining right throughout here at Shea.
Jets can get the emotional edge if they can hold the Bills to just a field goal, keep them out of the end zone.
And Ferguson to throw on 3rd and 2, and he completes. Lou Picone again, his 4th reception. He did drop one earlier this quarter, but another big play by Picone, setting up 1st and goal at the 4.
Isn't it funny how old ex-players will come back to haunt you, and Picone has been the haunter of the Jets today. Crucial catches by Lou all afternoon.
Lou played 3 seasons here in New York with the Jets. This is 3rd with the Buffalo Bills. 1st and goal at the 4. Curtis Brown in a wrestling match with the rookie Johnny Lynn. Able to keep out of that end zone, but brings to the 2.
tell you, Johnny Lynn being a rookie, there was no way Brown was going to get in the end zone. He didn't want to go back on Tuesday and see the films of Brown carrying him across the goal line, so there was no way.
It is a 2nd and goal down at the 2. Time running down in this third quarter. It's been a quick-moving game. 15 seconds to go in the quarter. Again, Brown on the dive, close to the goal line. No indication.
He didn't get it.
Buffalo player signaling for the touchdown, but he is short. Burgess Owens, the free safety, able to keep him away.
That's the key on the goal line defense, your support people. Not the defensive linemen who are down with their nose to the ball. They stop the surge. The guy who makes the tackle, the linebacker, or the defensive back.
The gun is sounded, so that's the end of the third quarter. And when we pick up in the fourth, the Buffalo Bills will have it 3rd and goal inside the 1. All right, we're going to give you that address again, so get a pencil and paper handy so you can write it down. First, a look at that last surge by Curtis Brown.
You see the job done by the defensive lineman, and then Owens comes up and mops up, and that's his job. Got to do it again now, though.
Fourth quarter underway. 3rd and goal at the 1. Miller and Brown, the running backs. And here is Brown. And it's Stan Blinken able to stop him. A goal line stand by the New York Jets.
I told you about that Stan Blinken, the young rookie, likes to play the run. And they ran the blitz. And watch Blinken because of the blitz. It's by Burgess Owens, 22. He knifes through, but Blinken's the man who makes the stop. And that young rookie is a hitter, folks.
Well, the Bills are going to go for it. Ferguson looked over at Chuck Knox. It's a 4th and goal out of the 1.
Look out. Hold on to your socks.
Terry Miller. They stop. Terry Miller stopped by the free safety, Burgess Owens.
We talked about it on the goal line. The linemen stopped the line charge, and then watch the support people, especially Burgess Owens, 22. Thank you, Mr. Miller. You did not make it. Great play by Burgess Owens, 22. Oh, yes. That is how to play goal line defense. These young Jets are fired up.
Curtis Brown with 3 attempts, Terry Miller with 1. And the Jets are able to hold, and they take over now at their 1-yard line. Opening minute of play, fourth quarter, Jets trailing by the score of 7-6. Clark Gaines just looking to find some open field, getting away from that goal line.
Our young team gets really antsy when you line up with at least your feet in the end zone, and even the offensive linemen were back at the end zone, and you don't want to fumble down there. I know a lot of backs who would come into the huddle, and if their number's called, they say, not me, I don't want it.
It is a 2nd and 8. Gaines picked up a yard. Kevin Long has come on now, and Long gets the call. Long able to bring out to the 5-yard line.
Good, sensible running. You look for the little slot, the hole someplace to give your quarterback some room to operate. Out at the 5's a lot less dangerous than the 1-yard line.
Shane Nelson making the stop. Well, Walt Michaels, the Jet head coach, certainly came prepared for the weather. Every once in a while, his head pops out of that green uniform. It's a 3rd and 5 at the 5. Clark Gaines is back, replacing Kevin Long. Play action, and Todd throws downfield, but overthrows. Mickey Shula, I would say the intended receiver, but that ball nowhere in sight.
Took a lot of guts to call the play action pass from the 5-yard line. Todd saw that the defense knew he was going to play action pass. His receivers were covered. All he did was throw it away, and that was smart. You don't want an interception or a sack here. But watch Todd pay the price. Ah, yes, right in the ribs as the arm comes down.
And now Chuck Ramsey, who after the slow start got off a 50-yard punt in his last attempt, will have to boot from deep in his end zone. Keith Moody back in single safety, 10-man rush. Ramsey very carefully getting it away. And it's a short punt, but the Jets get the roll.
But it hit a Jet player, Marv, and they'll bring it back inside the 35-yard line.
So the Bills will take over. 12:44 left in this fourth quarter. Bills lead it 7-6.
This is Brian Gumble in New York reporting that in Cleveland the Browns have closed the gap a bit on the Seattle Seahawks. Here it is, Mike Pruitt going off the left side and picking up much of the slack left by the injury to Greg Pruitt. Goes down the sidelines, wins the foot race to the goal line, 66 yards in all. Cleveland coming back. It's now Seattle 16, Cleveland 10. Let's go back to Shea Stadium and Marv Albert.
Thank you, Brian. Well, the Seahawks leading the Browns by the score of 16-10 as you look at head coaches Chuck Knox and Walt Michaels after that good goal line stand. The Buffalo Bills, though, in superb field position, first down at the Jet 36-yard line. On the delay, Terry Miller to the 33, Buttle and Suggs making the stop, tripping up Miller. Here's that address once again to send your tax-deductible contribution to help our American Olympic athletes. U.S. Olympics, Post Office Box 1980P, Cathedral Station, Boston, Massachusetts.
02118.
Good, Mike. Very good. Always good with numbers.
Yes.
It's a 2nd and 6. Curtis Brown, Terry Miller, the running backs. Miller has the dirtier, more soiled uniform. This is Miller. And a mix-up and blocking assignment stopped by Klecko. Right here we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Responding to the needs of your community, this is WGR TV2 Buffalo.
Marv Albert and Mike Haffner from Shea Stadium in New York, where the rain has been falling right throughout. 11 and a half left, fourth quarter. Buffalo leading 7-6. He's played, and this makes the point by Tony Linhart. It's a 3rd and about 4 now for Buffalo. And Ferguson dumps over the middle. He's across the Curtis Brown. Big play. Curtis Brown inside the 10-yard line. Curtis Brown able to take it home. Will look at the films and will really wonder about the poor Jet tackling on that surge by Brown.
I must compliment Curtis Brown, though. First of all, on the great catch. Tremendous concentration. Watch him out of the backfield. He's one-on-one with a linebacker. He makes an outstanding play, ducks under Greg Buttle, and then the people start missing tackles. I told you he was quick sideways. And I'll tell you, on Tuesday morning when they look at the film, there are going to be a few guys who do not want to go into the film room because you've got to tackle in this game. And they didn't do it on that play.
Walt Michaels might be looking at that film tonight.
Important extra point, Marv.
Here's Mickemeyer. That snap was given the Buffalo Bills a 14-6 lead with 11:10 left in the fourth quarter. 36 yards, 3 plays, capped off by the 30-yard pass play. Ferguson to Brown for Ferguson, his 13th touchdown pass, and a kickoff taken by Bobby Jones. A reverse, and it's surprise. Buffalo can slow to the 40 and run out of bounds. Well, a little razzle-dazzle pulled off here by Walt Michaels. The reverse for Troy and a long gainer. Len Willis, who has been excellent on special teams, able to get Troy and push out the 3-year pro out of Maryland.
I like it. Walt Michaels takes some chances. 10 minutes to go in the game. You've got to do something, and that missed extra point means you have to score twice, Marv, to either get ahead in this game.
First down for the Jets at the Buffalo 37-yard line. And here's Todd running out of the pocket with a penalty marker down. Richard Todd fumbled on the play, but it was whistled dead.
It's all going to come back for that holding penalty again. The flag goes down in the pocket around Richard Todd. You can bet the farm on it that it's holding.
Ken Stroy on that reverse with a 48-yard pickup.
What a shame to get a holding penalty after that great return.
Against the Jets for holding.
Clark Gaines. Again, Todd paying the price. This time, he knows he's going to get it. There's the flag down for the holding.
Well, I'm not sure if you picked that up, but it was Clark Gaines called for the hold, and they move it back to the 47-yard line, and it's a 1st and 20 for the Jets. Now trailing 14-6, 10 minutes and 48 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Gaines and Harper, the running back. Here's Harper. Goes nowhere, stopped by Shane Nelson.
Not a good call. I don't like drop play at 1st and 20.
Short pickup. Ball spotted at the 46-yard line. Might have gotten a yard and a half, perhaps. Coming up next here on NBC in many areas of the country, New England and Denver.
Big game.
And a big one. Jets will certainly be interested in the New England-Denver game. Of course, they must win right here. Really jarred. Derek Gaffney hit by the free safety, Tony Green.
And if there's one place a defensive back loves to see a receiver, it's off his feet and up in the air. Tony Green has been around a long time. He was drooling when he saw this one coming. Todd trying to hit Gaffney across the middle in the zone. The responsibility is for Green to come up and make the hit. And I'd say he fulfilled his job.
Well, with the sellout here at Shea, of course, we have been delighted to bring you this game back to New York City, and it will be followed by the NFL report, recapping the day with scores and highlights. And it'll be back to the New York City area. Some areas will be followed by Denver and New England. Richard Todd throwing while on the run, and it's picked off again. Tony Green, the free safety, with the Bills' second intercept of the afternoon, and Green runs it out.
The big problem when you throw against a zone prevent defense is not to leave the ball up in the air. Do not overthrow. I mean, they've drilled that into rookie quarterbacks, and the reason you don't overthrow against the prevent defense is this, right here. Look at Tony Green standing back there saying, go ahead, overthrow it, I'll pick it off. And he did. And now the Jets are in trouble. Todd again, I'm sure he's kicking himself. He's been around too long to overthrow against the prevent defense.
And Richard Todd, who has heard the boos from time to time this season, hearing it again, and now hearing the chant of "We want Matt Robinson." Terry Miller getting the call. Stan Blinka on the tackle out at the 40-yard line. The Buffalo Bills once again able to come up with an interception, and that man can't be too happy.
They're screaming for the backup quarterback. What a great job. You get a big salary, sit on the bench, watch the starter get all the heat and the boos. Then they start screaming for you at the end of the game. You never get in, but...
Well, Matt Robinson won the job from Richard Todd during preseason. Then the controversial finger injury, and a lot of people were upset that Michaels gave the job back to Todd. The chant continues as Terry Miller carries. Joe Flacco in on the tackle.
You got to be cheering for their defense, because if they stop them here, 9 minutes to go, there's plenty of time to get 2 scores, Marv.
It is a 3rd and 3. There is Matt Robinson on the headset. I don't know. I'd be surprised if Michaels would make the change.
Too late in the game. Todd's the one that's warm. It's a bit cool and wet out there. You don't want to change quarterbacks now.
Well, Walt is also very conservative and very strong-willed when it comes to situations like this. I don't see it during the course of the game. Miller, short of a first down. Blinka able to follow him from left to right to make the stop. And so the Bills will be forced to punt.
Great play by Stan Blinka, the middle linebacker. Filtering through the blocks. You can't get chopped down when you're the middleman.
8 minutes, 10 seconds to go, 4th quarter. The Jet offense has been virtually invisible here today. They are trailing 14-6. And now Rusty Jackson will punt to Bruce Hopper.
They might go with Robinson if Todd were to throw another interception.
Oh, that's a hedge, Mike. Good hang time. Good coverage though by the Bills. Hopper across the 40. Beautiful run by. And it's the punter, Rusty Jackson, who was forced to stop Hopper. You hear the reaction. It is Richard Todd coming back on a timeout call. 7.5 left in this fourth quarter.
This is Bryant Gumbel in New York reporting that in the Astrodome, the Houston Oilers have scored again. Second time today, Dan Pastorini, touchdown pass to Kenny Burrow. This one good for 35 yards. It's 28-14, Oilers out in front. Let's go back to Shea and Marv Albert.
And we thank the Bates College Flash, Bryant Gumbel, for the update as you look at the American Conference East Division. This is a crucial game for the Jets in terms of wild card playoff possibilities. Todd completes the game. Clark Gaines out to the 48-yard line. That'll set up a 2nd and 2. The 26-yard punt returned by Bruce Hopper, giving the Jets the good field position. Steve Freeman, the strong safety, making the stop on Clark Gaines. 7 minutes and 10 seconds left, fourth quarter. And the Jets are trailing the Bills 14-6.
No surprise that Richard Todd threw on first down there. He's got to put the ball up to get the Jets back in the game.
Todd has been intercepted twice, has heard it from the crowd here at Shea. Now Todd completes for the first down to Hopper. Bruce Hopper stopped by the combination of linebackers Robertson and Haslett.
And I like it. Richard Todd's not trying to get it all back in one big bomb. He's just picking up the first down. I'll tell you, on that short pass, though, you certainly pay the price when the linebackers get you in the middle of the back.
Robertson, Haslett, Nelson, and Sanford are the Buffalo linebackers. Williams, Smurlus, and White now up front for Buffalo. Clark and Rhodes at the corners. Freeman and Green are the deep men. First down at the 46. Throw again. Throws the middle, and got Bobby Jones. That time, Todd with the pinpoint pass, and Jones stopped by Green and Freeman, so Todd has moved the Jets downfield in a hurry.
And I'll tell you, Richard Todd will thank Bobby Jones for this reception because he threw it in the wrong spot. He threw it away from the way Jones was going, and watch the great body control by Jones. He had to turn around, come back, and catch it. That's one of the tougher catches to make when you have to reverse your field to make the catch. Great concentration by Jones.
It's a 19-yard advance, first down at the 27. On the draw, does not work. Clark Gaines stopped back behind the line.
The New York fans don't like that play, but I'll tell you, you've got to run it at least once in a while to keep Buffalo's defense honest. Otherwise, they'll be standing on Richard Todd's toes every time he turns around to throw.
It is a 2nd and 10 at the 27-yard line. Time running down on the Jets. We approach the 5-minute mark. Buffalo in the nickel defense. They have the 5th back in. And here is Todd on the roll. Completes over the middle. Gaines trying to pick up a ball. With a tremendous second effort down to the 11-yard line.
Richard Todd being very sensible. He's looking for the short man, but watch Jerome Barkham. They forgot about him. He's down there all by himself. Richard, throw me the football. But Todd again looking for the sensible move. He got chased out of the pocket. That's why he didn't see Barkham. Now watch the second effort by Clark Gaines. He knows this is an important football game. I am not going down. You're going to have to nail me. And he's still going. What a great effort.
First and 10 down at the Buffalo 11-yard line. And Todd on the play action goes for the end zone, overthrows Mickey Schuler. That is the tight end, the second-year man out of Penn State, Mickey Schuler, who has caught 2 touchdown passes.
not one of your great speed burners. He had a chance, but Richard threw the smart pass. At least it wasn't going to be picked off.
2nd and 10 upcoming. A reminder, tonight and tomorrow night here on NBC, 2 spectacular suspense movies making it to television for the first time. Tonight, Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon, and tomorrow night, Gregory Peck and Lee Remick in the thriller The Omen, right here on NBC.
Don't miss them. They're great movies.
Let's go with one deep back. It's long. Again, the attempt. Touchdown! Bobby Jones! So the Jets with 4:04 left in the 4th quarter are right back in it. Jones beating the right quarterback, Charles Rose. For Bobby Jones, his first touchdown of the National Football League.
What a great acting job by Jones. He didn't even look around. Richard Todd threw it before Bobby looked. And he faked out the defensive back completely, and there's a happy man.
Mike Jones, 3 receptions, 51 yards. And here's Tony Leonard, who missed on his previous extra point attempt. This one is no good.
Didn't make any difference that time, though, Marv.
Unbelievable. As you say, in this situation, the 1 point, well, of course, a safety if you're looking down the road. But that is incredible. He has missed on both extra point tries. A timeout call. 4 minutes, 4 seconds to go, 4th quarter. And it's now Bills 14, Jets 12.
Marv Albert, there is no excuse. Good hold, good snap. Just scruffed his foot on the ground and hooked it again. 2nd time.
Tony Leonard had come in at 10 for 10 in the placement department, 3 for 5 in field goals, but he has missed both. There's the Jets scoring drive. It took 3 minutes, 32 seconds, capped off by the touchdown pass to Bobby Jones. Curtis Brown with a short pickup off the Jet kickoff. 3:56 remaining 4th quarter. The Buffalo Bills winning it 14-12, and a significant series here for Buffalo. Coming up in many areas following the Jets and the Bills. It'll be New England and Denver, and a big one as the Patriots take on the Orange Crush. And for those of you here in New York City, we are pleased to bring you the NFL report. Brian Gumble, Mike Adams.
All those important scores, I'm going to be watching.
First down at the 27-yard line. You hear the crowd urging the Jet defensive hit it on. And Ferguson off the short set completes one of the first down as McCone again picks one off. It was covered up by Johnny Lynn.
Very smart call. Joe Ferguson again calling all of his plays today. And he goes to the weakness of the Jet defense. McCone's having a great day. He's been able to beat Johnny Lynn on the out pattern. Ferguson knows it, and he called it.
Lou McCone with his 6th reception. It's been a career record-breaking day for Lou. 63 yards, although he picked up 84 yards last week. 2nd and 1 setup off that 9-yard pickup. They go out of the eye. Brown in front of Miller. Second back is Miller, and he has the first down. Hard driving run by Terry Miller.
USC made that I formation famous, and on the short yardage, it's excellent, and it gives Miller time to see where the hole opens. He's lined up 7 yards deep. He can see the blocking form, pick his spot, and get the first down.
2 minutes and 48 seconds left, 4th quarter. The Bills just hope to hold on to this football the rest of the way. Miller now 21 carries, 77 yards, so he has had a fine afternoon.
Best of the season.
And here's Miller again. Miller trying to make the turn. Jets followed him well, got up to the 40, but Blinka and Jackson were there to stop Miller.
Give credit to 51 Greg Buttle for holding this to a small gain, though he didn't make the tackle. But again, I talked about Bobby Jackson in the first half, his ability to come up and play the run. All cornerbacks have to do it. Buttle strung it out. Jackson came up and knocked Miller off his feet.
1 yard pickup, 2nd and 9. As we approach the 2-minute mark, here it is, the 2-minute warning now. So a timeout called with the score, the Buffalo Bills 14, the New York Jets 12. Well, there's a man who I'm sure would like to forget about today, Tony Leonard, missing both extra points, and as a result, the Jets are trailing 14-12.
The crucial miss was the first one. Now he's got a mental block. He's still got a chance to get back in it with a field goal, Marv, but the Jet defense is going to have to get him the football.
Buffalo 2nd and 9 at their 40. 2 minutes left, fourth quarter. Curtis Brown, short pickup. Mark Gastineau, number 99, a second-round draft pick out of East Central Oklahoma, with that hard hit on Miller. And a timeout has been called by the Jets. So the Jets now with 2 timeouts remaining. They stop the clock with 1 minute and 53 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Buffalo up by the score of 14-12. Well, tonight here on NBC, Al Pacino starring in that unforgettable role, Dog Day Afternoon. Then tomorrow night, it'll be Gregory Peck and Lee Remick in the thriller The Omen. What a combination. Dog Day Afternoon tonight and The Omen tomorrow night. 2 thrilling television events, both here on NBC.
Wow, NBC's got some great movies this season. Richard Todd wants his shot. There he is on the sidelines. Get that ball back, defense. I want to get us in field goal range. Big play right here, Marv.
Well, for the New York Jets and their wild card playoff hopes, this could be the season. They have the Bears coming up next week in Chicago, followed by Seattle on a Monday night. Here it is. Third down and 7. And Ferguson will throw. It is Lucas Owens got a piece of it, a diving deflection. It was intended for Frank Lewis. And now the Jets will get their hands on the football again.
Burgess Owens has been the defensive star for the Jets today. He must have heard you, Marv. He said it's all on the line here. Owens sells out. Defensive backs are told not to leave your feet. You can get it. If you don't touch it, the guy goes all the way. But Owens made the perfect play. It's all right if you knock it down and leave your feet.
Rusty Jackson has averaged 32 yards, 5 punts. Back at his 28-yard line, 1 minute and 48 left, fourth quarter. 10-man rush for the Jets, and Jackson looks to angle it. Here's Harper at his 20, off the stutter step. Harper still going, and then hauled out by number 55, Jim Haslett. But Harper would not go. You better get him. You better get him off my back. 1 minute and 36 left, fourth quarter, and the Jets now take over as we get another look at the gritty play of Harper.
Harper epitomizes the Jet football team. Youngsters never quit. And look at Harper. He was stopped by his own man. It was Ron Crosby, and yet he gave the second effort.
Back live, first down for the Jets at their 30-yard line, and here is Richard Todd to throw. And a diving catch made. However, a flag has been thrown. Bobby Jones with a spectacular effort. He was stopped by Lucius Sanford, but there's a penalty marker down, and it's against the Jets.
That nasty holding penalty, it hurts you every time. And if the Jets didn't want to get one in this game, it was right this minute. That really hurts.
All right, the call coming up now from the referee, Pat Haggerty.
Holding, number 79.
Marvin Powell, 79. Let go of that jersey. Got a yard of cloth in that left hand. You can't do that.
So it is a first down and 20 back at the Jet 20-yard line. This is Marv Albert with Mike Haffner. The Jets are trailing 14-12. Todd off the double pump. Intercepted. Intended for Barkham. This is Mario Clark. third interception of the day for the Bills. Second for Clark, who brings back to the 35-yard line.
And again, Richard Todd letting the ball hang in the air against the zone defense. Somebody standing back there will pick it off every time. Mario Clark right on the spot.
What a day for Mario Clark, the 4-year man out of Oregon. His first 2 intercepts of the season.
This is not a good throw at all, Marv. Richard Todd knows they're in prevent defense. You can't hang up the long one. Clark playing the short side zone, sees the ball coming and hanging, and he just, let me at it, and he's got it. That's just about, party's over.
A minute 13 left, fourth quarter, first down 35, and the Bills look to run it out. Curtis Brown with the second effort again, able to break tackles and gets inside the 30-yard line. Pillars finally wrestled him down.
Can't believe the Jets haven't stopped the clock.
Now they do. So the Jets are down to 1 timeout left.
Got to use them while you got them, because Buffalo sit there and let it run out.
Well, Richard Todd heard it here from the crowd, had that beautiful drive after the booing to bring the Jets home on the touchdown pass to Bobby Jones. The crowd again chanting for Matt Robinson, which is a bit unfair to turn that quickly, although Richard has heard it from time to time during the season. But as you see, only 58 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Jets are now down to 1 timeout, and the Bills lead the Jets 14-12 by virtue of the 2 missed extra points by that guy, number 2, who would like to dig a hole, you can be sure, and disappear.
I'll tell you what, he ain't going out the regular exit at Shea Stadium. He's going to sneak out the back door. Tough day.
Tony has had more than his share, starting in Baltimore earlier this season. Pat Leahy, the regular Jet place kicker, injured, sitting it out with a sprained knee. Richie Zarro, one-time New Orleans Saint, was signed and had a rough day in his first effort. And Tony Linhart had actually done well. Terry Miller inside the 30. Burgess Owens making the stop. And the Jets have just utilized their final timeout.
Nothing else you can do. You hope for a fumble. The Jet defense will be tackling the football.
A reminder coming up later today on NBC, following the Jets and Buffalo, many areas of the country will see the New England Patriots take on the orange-crushed Denver Broncos in a battle between 2 top playoff contenders. And those of you here in the New York City area, we're pleased to bring you the NFL report with Brian Gumble and Mike Adamley. When we resume following this final Jet timeout, Buffalo with a 3rd down and 4 at the Jet 29-yard line and only 53 seconds remaining.
The important factor, though, the Jets are out of timeouts.
That was not a happy picture you saw just a moment ago over at the Jets sideline. Brown and Miller, the running backs. Ferguson, the quarterback. And here is Miller looking to pick up the first down, and he's got it. Pillars, the left defensive end, ran him out.
And he stayed inbounds, Marv. Clock still going. That was the perfect run. He got the first down. He stayed inbounds. Game's over.
So the Buffalo Bills now will just hang on with 30 seconds remaining.
They don't have to run a play. They can sit in that huddle because they get 30 seconds. And might have been 31, but who cares?
Well,
now?
they'll take the delay of game and then just fall on the football.
Joe's in no hurry.
Clock running down. They do run it off, and that will wrap it. For the New York Jets, a very disappointing afternoon, coming off the victory last week, coming off winning 4 of the last 6, coming off good play these past 6-7 weeks, and they have been swept in the season series by the Buffalo Bills, who do it today 14-12 with that man, number 2, Tony Linhart, missing both extra points.
He'll be the center of the press, unfortunately, as the bad guy, not the good guy.
So the final score, the Buffalo Bills over the New York Jets, 14-12. And the Buffalo Bills now 5-6 on the season. The Jets the same. This is Marv Albert with Mike Haffner saying goodbye from Shea Stadium in New York. The executive producer of NBC Football is Don Ohlmeyer. Coordinating producer Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by David Stern. Directed by John Gonzalez. Technical director Horace Ruiz. Associate director Howard Bayer. Next Saturday on Sports World, the Muhammad Ali Boxing Club will go up against the Mexico Boxing Club from Los Angeles. Semifinals of the Legends of Bowling and International Barrel Jumping. That's next Saturday on Sports World. And now stay tuned as some of you will see the second half of our doubleheader. That is New England and Denver. Those of you in New York City, stay tuned for the Budweiser NFL Report after these messages from your local stations.